Hey guys, I realized I hadn't put a consume deck guide on this channel at all at any point, even though the deck's pretty strong. So I figured, why not, have a look at consume, see how it works, help you guys with it if you are struggling with the concept, because it's a bit of a weird deck and it functions differently to a lot of meta decks that are strong, but it's pretty powerful itself. And I also thought, why not throw in Olgierd, because that card got changed. He now has a Death Wish effect, which is resurrect whenever he dies effectively. So I thought, maybe this is good in Consume. Maybe he can give you some extra points in round one when you're, using your Ran Warriors and Forktails and things like that. You can eat him for some free points. A bit of a low tempo immediate play, but then maybe it gets some points later. So I wanted to try it out, see how it goes, and I thought, yeah, why not bring you some Consume gameplay, a Consume deck that you can try out if you haven't played Consume already. Um, and, I'm not sure if it's super good at the moment with a lot of artifact compressions flying around potentially, mandrakes all over the place. But, Consume always finds a place in its current form, in the meta at some stage. So, figured why not? This video will be useful at some point to you, whether or not it's currently a viable deck. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So the standard consume package with bronzes is you basically throw in every possible consume bronze and Neca warriors. Obviously for Necas, you want to put as many of those in your deck as possible, and then cycle through them later in the game using the Vrans and the Forktails. So that's kind of the whole bronze package, nothing really to talk about there. Slizzards are giving you access to your cards, thinning and all that good stuff along with consume procs, so really nice. Um, yeah, so Neckers, the whole idea of the deck, they get really big when you consume stuff, and then you can eat them, and more will pop out, and you get tons of points. So that's the whole plan. Forktail really strong, Vran really strong. Vran is your engine, you want to get it down early. Forktail you want to save for later in the round, and use it towards the end of the game as well. So for silvers, we have Summoning Circle as to copy a Neca if it gets removed by Mandrake or Muzzle, or to copy a Forktail or Vran or Neca Warrior if the opponent plays Spy, or a gold unit, in between your turn and their turn. You can then get another copy of a good unit. Pretty nice one. Marching orders is to get Slizzards more reliably, and maybe even Neckers if you have all Slizzards in hand. And basically the silvers are that the idea of them is to kind of allow your Necker core to flourish more, right? So you have the marching orders, you have the summoning circle to get, those Neckers more reliably. You have ADC, this gets Necker warrior more reliably, so you're never bricking on those, never not finding 3 Necker warriors, because that's really important to have as many Neckers as possible. Monster Nest is there for a bit of carryover with Babagazi or potentially Ghoul later on if you are in need of like a 1 point, big point swing. But usually Babagazi to eat a Necker to get some carryover pretty strong. Marilor, Necker access really important. You want to have as much as that as possible. Then we've got the Olgierd as I was talking about. We'll see how it works. I'm not too sure how strong it is, but yeah, it's a pretty fun card, so you could swap this out for Osrel if you want to be maybe a bit more competitive. I'm not too sure. Yeah, or another silver, maybe Mandrake can go with Crone is what they used to do in the old days, but maybe not so good anymore. But yeah, for golds, we have Royal Decree, just to guarantee gold cards more effectively. We have Ritual to revive Neckers late in the game, really, really powerful. We have Poet to guarantee another draw, which will effectively make getting Neckers easier, and it gives us a body to eat with Vrans and Forktails, so really fun, really important card. Phoenix as well, just very powerful, being able to revive Slizzard usually into Forktail or Vran, or even just to revive a Vran or whatever. Very, very strong. You're able to get a ton of points in round 3 or round 2, or whenever you need it really. Yeah, super good. Lots of bodies as well to consume. And then the Queen, which we're going to want to use, of course, to strengthen up the Neckers, to buff them up, and to eat some. And yeah, that is the deck. So yeah, the idea is with Consume, you don't really care about card advantage. You don't care if you have to go cards down. You don't really worry about that. You do have low tempo plays at the beginning, so if your opponent passes, you might go cards down. That's just the way of it. You have to play your Neca Warriors. You have to eat stuff with your Vrans, with your Queen, with your Forktails, and then you have to get to round 3, play your Neckers, and get big points, even if you're a few cards down. So that's the idea of the deck. We can jump into a game or two and see how it works. Alright, looks like we have a mirror match to start things off. It always seems when I do these videos, I do queue into consume, which, suggests it's kind of popular, but who knows. So for mirrors, we kind of don't want too many neckers potentially, unless we suspect some kind of removal from him. Scissors are going to be okay, but we kind of prefer to have them later on in the game, probably to get those points rather than, I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference. Honestly, like, a hand like this is fine as long as you have one Vran, one Forktail, one Nekker Warrior, and access to all Nekker Warriors. That's kind of all you ever need in a hand as consume, but you want more Nekkers if you're playing against, decks that have a lot of Nekker removal, like Skellige, for example, with Coral, Mandrake, that sort of thing. So here I'm going to mulligan a Nekker. It might be risky. We'll keep Merylorn because that's just safe. Then a Slizzard, and then a Forktail. Yeah, no. Just, make the hand a little bit more clean in case he has some kind of graveyard hate, like Osrel. We might run into difficulties getting the Nekker Warriors, developed and all that good stuff. So um, here the aim is just going to be maximize points, basically. Um, you know, if he doesn't dry pass, we'll be in a good spot. He does dry pass. Here we'll drop Vran Warrior or Forktail, probably Forktail. Gives us a good res target for later in the game with the Phoenix. And then we'll just pass straight into round 3 since it is the mirror match. We should be fine to do that. And this is just all going to be about making sure we get as many points as possible. I mean, Gwent is always about that, so yeah, this hand is looking okay. We'll pass straight into round 3. And yeah, the idea, I mean, this is actually probably the best way to show how the deck functions, just playing solitaire against another deck that's playing solitaire effectively. We can work out exactly how we're going to get all of the value. So it's going to be Nekker, it's going to be Nekker Warrior, eat some things, Phoenix maybe, all that good stuff. We need to enable Slizzards. We might even mulligan a Nekker Warrior, since we have 3 in hand with the ADC being able to pull one. And yeah, should be good. Should be a good time. We'll just have to see who has the better hand effect. And we do look like we have a pretty good one with 3 golds. But we'll see. At the end of the day, it really will come down to sort of managing the cards, making sure we... Ooh, Gales and putting the card on top. I like it. Very smart. Very smart stuff. And actually, like, Olgierd would be really nice here, I think. Just for a bunch of extra points, right, while we're doing all our consuming. Not sure if we'll draw him. We are scared of the brick. Royal Decree could brick us if we draw a bad card here. We're going to mulligan Nekker. We don't need that many Nekkers. And having double Vran is pretty good in the mirror. Going to get a lot of consumes happening. If you have Merylorn in hand, you typically want to go with this because it's instead of Nekker because it's more tempo. You can blacklist Nekker on the mulligan later on, and you're getting bodies, you're getting tempo with the Merylorn, which is really important in the round that you're developing Nekker Warriors and everything, because you're normally going to have a low tempo while that's happening. So here we'll play it. I'm going to put it on the same row as the Nekker in case you want to end up eating Nekkers with the Vran that you're going to eventually pop down and start eating everything with. And yeah, Nekker Warrior then probably start consuming things immediately after that. And he'll be doing the exact same thing. So really our job here is just to play our cards as efficiently as possible, and we will probably win the game. So yeah, Nekker Warrior comes down, we want to put the Nekkers in the deck. And then we'll start chomping on Nekker Warriors, scissors them out and all that. Should be a good time. But yeah, and we also want to put 2 Nekkers in the graveyard for the Brewess, but that can come a bit later. Not too worried about that just yet. We'll probably begin to eat Nekkers after we've put all of them in the deck. Probably the best way to do it. And we might even want a Nekker Warrior. Nah, I think we'll just go ahead and eat. We want to start eating immediately. If we mirror him, how can we lose, right? If we're playing the same deck, makes sense. We do want to use ADC to pull the Nekker Warrior. It might make Slizzards a bit harder to do, but we've got one Forktail coming out for sure, right? And we can put the Forktail in front of a Vran probably and eat it with Slizzard that way. So not really a huge problem. Also got the Poet, which would be nice for some bodies and whatnot. We do need to draw something nice from this. We don't really want like a Nekker or, something that might be dead, like a Slizzard or whatever. I mean, like, it's really hard for you to have dead Slizzards with this deck just because of the Queen, just because of your Forktail. Like, you can always eat stuff and put it in the graveyard, right? Plus, there's always Nekkers to pull out of the deck with Slizzards, so you're kind of never too worried about that. This is a bit of an awkward situation because, you know, for the simple reason that, you know, we don't have scissor tides, but it's perfectly fine. Essentially, we're going to get some free points later on, which he won't have if he's scissoring out Neca Warriors, because if you scissored a Neca Warrior, you get the consume trigger before you've put the Necas in the deck, right? So you effectively miss out on a few points. You know, you get some immediate tempo, but you lose some points. And that's something to keep in mind, you know, whatever deck you're playing against. If you want to go scissors in round one, you can do that for your Neca Warriors. It's gonna mean you lose some points here and there, and it's okay. That's interesting. We'll go with another Neca Warrior here, and then probably Vran eat the Neca, maybe play another Neca after that. Um, yeah, it's gonna mean if you play Neca Warriors from hand, you're probably looking fine in terms of carryover value. If you play Scissors on Neca Warriors, you're looking better in terms of a tempo point of view, but worse in terms of carryover, if that makes sense. Um, it's a little niche thing that you know you don't think about too often, but might in fact be relevant. So the Morvid we're actually pretty happy to see. This is like a silver gold whatever that isn't a consume. It's not doesn't look too strong. Summoning Circle on the other hand is pretty powerful here, giving him another Vran, not bad at all. But yeah, now we're going to play our Neca and we're going to then eat it. Hopefully, unless he does something very tricky, moves it around or whatever. And then we're going to open with, you know, play the ritual, start eating Necas with the queen and whatnot, and do all the other good stuff that we have. So it's really important to keep track of how many Necas you have as well, right? You're going to have 9 in deck if you play all the Neca Warriors out. So honestly, having a tracker helps quite a lot when you're playing Consume. I don't play with tracker, so a little bit of a disadvantage there, but you know, not the end of the world. And yeah, you want to play the ritual in a round that you're playing it as soon as possible, right? Oh, he ate my forktail. That's pretty rude. That is pretty rude. We're gonna have to find you know, a forktail now from that, otherwise from the poet. Otherwise, we might run into difficulties. I'm tempted to put a Neca here. I think why not? If this Varan keeps eating enough, it'll eventually kill the Neca, right? So at the moment we have 6 Necas in deck. We really don't want to, you know, waste consumes or anything there. Be pretty important not to do that. Next, we're going to go for the Raw Decree and have a look at what we've got. We do need to find Forktail, like that's quite, you know, going to be pretty valuable here. Seems like a bit of lag, that's strange. So we'll go with the Poet. We're not going to put it next to Vrans or anything. And okay, we get a Vran Warrior. This is really bad news because that means all our scissors are dead now. So really nice Osrail from him. And yeah, just not quite drawing the way we need to. Unfortunately, in mirrors, that's going to hurt a lot when you've dry passed. So here we're going to have to scissor out, you know, these Necas, which really isn't ideal. We're going to have to Phoenix of Varan, which also isn't ideal. Yeah, not sure if this will be a win. I guess we'll find out. But not exactly what you want to see. Either way, I think, you know, we had to showcase how the deck works. If we got a little bit more fortune on draws, would have been super fine. But yeah, he's going to go with the queen, eat some things. Now, interestingly, you don't really want to do what he just did, eating the Neca before the third tick, before the third consume on the queen, because you're missing out on a point effectively, right? So, and you know, he's also not given Avran something to eat there, which is, you know, a couple of rather large mistakes in all honesty. But whatever, not gonna, you know, he's not gonna lose sleep over that, I'm sure. So here we're going to go with the queen. We're going to want to eat a Varan, probably the smaller Varan here, you know, along with this Neca warrior, and then just one Neca. And then we're going to Phoenix out the Varan, and we're going to scissor out some Necas. Honestly, we might win if he, you know, does not maximize points. If he makes misplays, then we might have a chance here. Or even if he doesn't have Forktails himself, we might be looking pretty good. Plus, just the fact that we had the Crone is a pretty big deal, whereas he hasn't played it yet. He might have it as well, but hasn't played it out. Oh, yep, he does have it. There it is. So next, of course, we want to play that Phoenix. Probably, you know, get that value there. So once we eat a Neca here, we have 3 left. We need to be very aware of that. Most likely, you know, we're not going to be able to, you know, get the maximum value that we'd like to see, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Here we'll just eat more with the Frans. Like, we got a lot of points. Life isn't too bad. It's just we're worried about Forktails now. Really going to hurt when we can't really eat many more Neckers. We can eat one more Necker at this point, having to slizzard out the other two. So, you know, bit of a painful one, bit of a painful one. That Osrel really did work for him in this game. Denied us a lot of value, but we'll see how it goes. If he doesn't have you know, the good stuff himself, we might be in good shape. And it looks like he is slizzarding out Neckers himself, so he's in a similar spot to we are, presumably, maybe with a Phoenix in hand as well. And here we just want to kind of avoid, you know, avoid eating too many Neckers. Of course, it's not going to be possible to avoid eating them all. I'm going to eat the last one here, basically, and then Slizzard will be pulling one more Necker, and that will be us done in terms of points. And it looks like it's going to be pretty close. He's, of course, getting some nice consumes going. It depends what his last card is, probably as to whether he wins or not. We do, of course, have a lot of points, but so does he, most likely. So there is the Phoenix, presumably for that Varan eating a Necker. Okay, I mean, we could check how many he has, not really relevant. If he has the goods, he has the goods, right? However, if we have enough points here, we can actually just pass, and these Varans won't proc. Could be pretty nice. We don't, so we do have to play another card. I don't think they proc anyway, though, so good news there. And of course, not going to eat the last Necker. That will basically lose us a point, because this Necker won't get the buff. Since there are no more in the deck, there's no point eating, right? And it looks like we do just about take that win. I'm not sure if these procking would have won it for him, probably. But that's going to be a nice, cheeky consume mirror. You know, ended up being pretty close, actually, because he didn't have Forktails himself. So there we go. Not too bad. So that's how the deck functions, how it works. Didn't get to see Olgierd in that one. But yeah, hopefully that is good. So yeah, we've jumped into another game just to see how the deck works against, you know, not mirror matches. Going to be against Crack this time round, and we do have the Olgierd in hand, so I'm going to be curious to see how good that will be in this game. So against Skellige, against Crack, we probably want to be finding as many necks as possible. That's priority, so that we don't, you know, run into big difficulties concerning Coral, concerning Muzzle and Mandrake, those sorts of things. So at least 2 Neckers is probably what we need, maybe even 3 if we're very scared of his removal. I'm going to mulligan away the Ritual here, because it's a card we don't actually need in the round 1. And then Necker Warriors, since we already have access to all of them, we have a Slizzard here with Marching Orders to pull one, and we have 2 here with the ADC and the Necker Warrior. And then the Slizzard can go as well. We're just looking for that Necker, which we do find, so that is great news. So here, yeah, we have kind of the perfect hand, which is 3 Necker Warriors, 1 or 2 Neckers, depending on what you're against, or maybe even 3 Neckers, 1 Vran and 1 Forktail. So we have access to all of that good stuff, which is all you really need as consume, and we also won the coin. So that's always nice. So you're going to open with Necker as per usual into, you know, the Necker Warriors. And it looks like he potentially doesn't have any way to deal with Neckers, which is nice. He is going to get some really big Greatswords though, which are kind of scary. But basically our objective here is to try to push and win the round if we can. If we can't, well, we're going to just, you know, develop all our engines, get all our points in the deck, get all the Neckers in the deck, and, you know, move on to a later round with basically big-ass bronzes, which are going to be hard for him to beat. That being said, I mean, the Greatsword does look pretty scary. Oh, hey, Plato, what are you up to? How's it going? Dog is here. Dog has arrived in timely fashion, as per usual. So yeah, Necker Warrior again, and then we'll Slizzard out next, and then we can get that Olgierd online, which would be pretty neat. Hello, buddy. How are you doing? Hi there. Yes. Oh, it is nice to see the doggo, of course. So yeah, Slizzard time. Last Necker Warrior. And, you know, these engines are pretty damn scary from the opponent. We're hoping Olgierd could kind of help us a bit. We're going to have to eat him a few times to get the value, but that's totally fine. We should be good in terms of points here. I'm not actually sure how much he's going to have, but I'm going to say that Olgierd's going to carry here. Hopefully that will be the case. We'll just eat him up, and then probably Queen and Forktail to take the round or something like that. Probably eating Neckers as well, which is fine. He does have a lot of points, so I'm hoping this is enough. So Queen, eat this, Slizzard, and then Necker finally. And then probably Forktail do the same, eat Olgierd and eat Necker, and it should be enough, I think. Almost enough, on its own there, actually. We can even do the math as to whether eating a Necker is necessary here. I don't think it is, right? 3 points plus 1, 4, plus he's gaining another 4, so 8, 10. Yeah, we can easily not eat a Necker here, especially with the Vran proccing and eating Olgierd anyway. So we'll do that. This Olgierd has actually, represented a lot of points in this round, which I'm pretty chuffed about. Not bad at all. And we are taking the round, 2 cards down, which is, perfectly fine for consume. That is kind of the standard. 3 cards down, you're a little bit worried. 2 cards down, you're typically completely fine with. You might run into difficulty if they've got hard removal for your cards later on, but there's not much you can do about that necessarily all the time. Here we're going to mulligan Necker, even though we have a dead card. We can always mulligan that in the next round anyway, so not a problem. We do just draw it into another Necker anyway, which is a bit unfortunate. Right now we're looking for Forktails and Slizzards, basically anything that's a lot of points, right? That would be ideal. Whew, Adrenaline Rush. Now we're actually pretty happy to see that. That means we are on even cards now. He doesn't have the card advantage, so a little bit less vulnerable to big removals at the end of the round. Quite a funky deck. Hoping he has more, more adrenaline rushes in this round. That'd be very good. But okay, so we drew Slizzard. We're obviously going to roll Decree into the Crone at the start of the round to get those Neckers up. They're not vulnerable to Coral or anything at this point because we've got so many of them, which is nice. And he's going to do his whole thing with engines and whatnot, and we're just going to play our Neckers and see who has more points, basically. It may be us, it may be him. We'll put them on 2 different rows, doesn't really matter. And then we're going to look to set up a Vran Warrior, same as, first round. Either with Phoenix or Slizzard, doesn't really make a difference. Both doing kind of a similar job, right? So we can play the Slizzard here and get that Vran chomping on things. We have a lot of Neckers to eat in this round, so it might have even been correct to start eating Neckers with Vran immediately. I'm not too sure. We can always put a Necker in front of him, on the next thing. So I'll probably go with the Dandelion and then the Mayorlawn, depending on what we get. And really the aim here is just to eat all of our Neckers. So we have 7 Neckers left in the deck, quite a lot. Summoning Circle, not really going to be of use here. I'm going to play the Mayorlawn for one of these Neckers. Do we have 7? We do have 7. Okay, I'm not miscounting. Perfect. So yeah, we're gonna be able to eat 2 with the Phoenix, eat 2 with the Forktail. So that leaves us 3 left. We're eating 1 here, so we need to eat 2 more, kind of. Whoa, okay, Coral on the Necker. That's kind of a nice thing to see, actually. Now we do want to go with this Forktail. If he, doesn't play a card that can interrupt the circle, we're going to be looking really good. If he does, then it's not as fun, but whatever. You're going to see we're able to catch him up in points like immediately, which is kind of crazy. Really showing the power of Consume. The deck is super damn strong if you get to this round 3, and that is really your aim, is to set up, get to round 3. Not too many cards down, with a few Neckers left. The more Neckers, the better, of course, but you're able to take some liberties, eat them in round 1 or whatever if you need to do that. But yeah, we're looking pretty great here. We have a further, how many more Neckers? 5 Neckers right now. So at the moment, we're probably not even going to be able to eat all of them at the current rate, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If that's the case, it generally means you have, enough that you're going to win the game anyway. But of course, eating all of them in round 3 is what you want to be doing typically. We'll see what he's got here. He might be running out of steam. He's still got cards like Restore and maybe like a Mandrake or something nasty. Could be the case. Oh, or a Regis even. Okay, that's actually quite nice to see because we're able to now circle. Oh yeah, it will be Necker, of course. Ah! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Blah, blah, blah. Should have put that in front of the round. What am I doing? Still half asleep, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, I'm just playing around Igni, obviously, which he might have. Regis is very, very, very strange to see, but apparently that's a card that you can play. And he has Igni as well. You wouldn't believe this. unbelievable stuff. You can't make this up. Coral, Regis, and Igni against Consume, and we still win the game. Pretty happy with that one. So yeah, Slizzard for Forktail, of course, and we're going to be getting a lot of points. So it turns out it maybe wasn't a misplay. Who knows? Who even knows? But yeah, that's the power of Consume. We're facing literally 3 hard counter cards. Don't even care. Do not even care. But yeah, hopefully that shows how to play the deck a little bit. Don't care about card advantage. It's all about setup and get to round 3. And maximize points if you're in a mirror or whatever, of course. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I think Olgierd's a really cool addition to this deck. Definitely worth a try, definitely a lot of fun, and Consume's pretty damn strong, as you just saw. Regis, Igni, who cares? Not enough to take the deck down. So yeah, I will see you next time. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.